about. Now, your book.
Yeah, well,
Mm-hmm.
I can't justify that behavior, and I don't agree with it, and I'm not going to pretend it doesn't exist. I'm just saying that it isn't the only position American Jews take. There are a lot of American Jews, like myself, who put their country, the United States, first.
Well, I praise God for them. And as I said, I know just a handful in Christianity, and I know Dr. Henry Macko. So I know you because I've been reading of your stuff in your book, and I know where you stand, Dr. Henry. Well, one of the things I should have mentioned that Dr. Henry Macko has a Ph.D. He's not only the author of Illuminati, the Cult that Hijacked the World, but another excellent book that's available on his website about feminism and the New World Order. And you ladies out there, you might want to get that book, and you men too. It's entitled Cruel, C-R-U-E-L, Cruel Hoax, Feminism and the New World Order. It's published in 2007, but it's very timely right now today. And by the way, we're offering the book Illuminati, the Cult that Hijacked the World. But both that book and Cruel Hoax are available on Dr. Macko's website, and that's henrymacko.com. Real simple. HENRYMAKOW. MAKOW. Real easy spelling. Macko, and it's MAKOW.com. henrymacko.com. Or Save the Males, M-A-L-E-S. You've heard of Save the Whales. Well, this is SaveTheMales.ca. But either one of those will take you to the same website. Dr. Macko has these two books plus other items, and he has some outstanding articles. I can't promote them enough. By the way, he's a brilliant thinker. He is a inventor of the game Scruples, that I think is a very interesting situation. So I'm glad he's on the show. Now, Dr. Macko, is there an elite people that you would call the Illuminati, and what is their goal?
Well, essentially, from my perspective, this seems to boil down to the people that control the credit of the governments of the world. These are the shareholders of the central banks. I don't have to tell you or your listeners that the central banks of democratic countries should be controlled and owned by the governments of those countries. They should be public. And I don't have to tell you all that they're private. And essentially, this started with the Bank of England back in 1694. So this Illuminati conspiracy has been going on for over 300 years, and I believe that it's these people that are trying to reshape the world in such a way that they can justify their totally disproportionate share of the world's wealth. I think there's statistics that show that 2% of the people of the world own more than 50% of the world's wealth. I also suspect that they have this Kabbalistic philosophy, which is essentially satanic, in which since they create money, they think they're gods. They are going to replace God, and they're going to redefine reality. And so I think these are the people. This is the hidden hand that has shaped world history since the 17th century, at the very least. And it is behind the Enlightenment, and it's behind this move to secularism. And I'm afraid that it's ultimately satanic, and we're beginning to see evidence of its satanic nature. I believe that secularism is just a way station on the way to Satanism, and we're already seeing this Satanism in our daily lives. There's so much anecdotal evidence, but the latest is there's a trailer on television for a movie in which, and this is on primetime TV, in which the characters, talk about incest, openly and blatantly, and as if it was a ha-ha matter. This is the insidious, diabolical, hidden agenda in the mass media, in the education system, in the culture. And I'm afraid that's what I mean when I say the cult, it's really a satanic cult, that hijacked the world. These people are Satanists. It's bad enough that they want to have all the monopoly on wealth, but they also, they're malevolent in character, and I believe they're ultimately responsible for all the horrors that humanity has experienced.
You know, on page 6 of your book, you state flat out that we are entering a dark age, immoral, coarse, fiendish, ghoulish. I call it all those names. You talk about the homosexual agenda, the incest. You know, a couple of years ago, and things have got even more worse. We have like 200 channels on our Time Warner, cable system here. And I told Wanda I'm going to get out my notepad and I'm going to go through all of the various movie channels and see what's on the topics. And that one night, I don't know how many movie channels there were, maybe 50, but they had themes of necromancy, communication with the dead. There was a movie on about sex with the dead. There were the vampire movies in which the vampires were having sex with, beautiful women. There was a movie about eating other human beings, cannibals. There was a movie on about blowing up buildings for no reason at all. I think it was called The Fight Club that night. Blowing up buildings and violence. Every one of those things were on TV on just one night alone. And it's almost like a feast of deviltry, isn't it?
Exactly. It's intolerable, yet it's more than tolerated. It's like evil is tolerance is for evil, and for decadence and degeneracy, and intolerance is for morality and for what is wholesome and good. I mean, we live in a truly sick society.
We really do, and you also say in your book that it is a Jewish conspiracy, and that basically they're foisting upon us a very sick Jewish culture. That this is the sickest of the Kabbalist and the Talmudist, and it's just the whole thing is like some kind of a disease. And by the way, I'm not saying that if you go to India where they have Hindus and other countries, they certainly have those shocking and repulsive systems of sexuality and culture there as well. But it seems like all of these systems somehow at one level or another, maybe because Satan is their author, does it seem to you that they all sort of work hand in glove in some strange mosaic type of way?
Yeah, I can't understand how that how they interact, but people like you and I have to look at this from the outside because we're not Satanists. We've never been part of these Satanist organizations, so we tend to have to understand them by virtue of their effect, the damage they do, what their intention seems to be. I do know that there is a whole satanic streak in Judaism, and these Satanists in Judaism were called Sabbateans, and then later they were called Frankists. There was a big movement, and then they went underground. They were actually ostracized by Jewish rabbis, and they were declared a heresy. And then they went underground, and now when they went underground, they basically infiltrated every group, not just Jews, but the Christian church. They became the Illuminati. They took over Freemasonry. So they've infiltrated every organization, and their power is based on the fact that the central bankers, the Rothschilds, were Frankist Jews. So so it's hard to say where they are and who they are. They operate subversively, and they're just there to turn events in a negative fashion at a critical moment. Also, they make a point of pretending to convert, or pretend, but they pretend to be Jews too. But they also pretend to be Christians. They're very big on intermarriage. So I think they're best described. Yes, they originate as in Kabbalism and Judaism, which is definitely satanic. But I think they've spread so far and wide now that I think they're best characterized as Satanists.
I think you're absolutely right. I can think of two talk shows I was on, one down in Florida. The host was a Jewish man and seemed to be a fine gentleman. And we were talking about Freemasonry, which you do a lot of exposing in your book, Illuminati. And a gentleman called up. It was Jewish. Evidently, they had a lot of Jewish listeners to this program in Florida, in Palm Beach. And he told the talk show, he said, Mr. Morris doesn't know what he's talking about. Freemasonry is not an evil organization. I'm a Mason. I've been a Mason for 30 years. In fact, he says Freemasonry is Judaism. He said, just repackaged. That's what we are. We're just Jews. And the host, who was not a Mason, Henry, said, are you saying that the Masonic Lodge is made up of Jews? He said, everyone in my lodge is a Jew. We're all Jews. That's what we do. It's based on Judaism. And I thought that was so interesting. At the same time, I was on a show here in San Marcos, Texas, where talking about Freemasonry, and the police chief called in and was just furious at me. And by the way, they escorted me out of town. A police cruiser did. To show you how mad the police chief of that little town was, because I was on that radio show. But he said, Mr. Mars, you're so stupid, you don't know that Freemasonry is a Christian organization. So you see, they both one of them believed they were practicing some kind of a strange form of Christianity, and the other said, Mr. Morris is so stupid he doesn't know this is Judaism. Isn't that interesting that they interlinked?
I don't think Judaism does not have apart from the Ten Commandments, does not have and Moses does not have a strong teacher and a strong kind of doctrine. So we really don't know what Judaism is, but its most defining books are the Talmud and the Kabbalah, and those are satanic.
Yes, they are. Dr. Henry Macko is my guest today. We're going to have to take a little break here. In fact, we're going to offer his book. Again, get that pencil and paper ready. I'm Tex Mars. You're listening to Power Prophecy, and we'll be right back after this brief message. What is the cult that has hijacked the world? Well, Dr. Henry Macko, in this book, Illuminati, the cult that hijacked the world, tells you it's a satanic cult. Its leader is Satan. It's interesting to me that if you look at the brilliant men who have exposed the Illuminati, and I'm not just talking about the everyday person, and there's 200 books out on the Illuminati. I'm talking about the people who are given insight by God to expose these things. They know that it's satanic. They know that it's Luciferian. John Quincy Adams, the 6th President of the United States, was probably the most intellectual and philosophical of all of our presidents. Maybe Thomas Jefferson was a close second. But John Quincy Adams was different in that he was a Christian. And he opposed Freemasonry, which was the Illuminati. And he said that it is wicked and evil There's nothing good in it. It's sinister. And he said its master and author is Lucifer, the 6th president of the United States. His father, of course, was the 2nd president, John Adams. Lucifer is the head of the Illuminati. A lot of people don't understand